This is The Toss-Up, where an expert-line panel dissects the hottest stories within the world of sports. From some of the nation's strongest college programs right here in Bloomington to the games and moments that capture the world's attention, it's all right here on The Toss-Up. Football season is finally upon us after what felt like the longest summer ever. Week 1 of the NFL calendar is officially here, and though there are a few changes, such as no preseason this year, the season is starting relatively on time, despite delays to baseball and soccer and stoppages in basketball and hockey. All in all, the return of football represents a return to normalcy in the world of sports. Well, sort of. Everything's normal, except for the lack of fans in attendance. But otherwise, it's normal, except that one team name is literally now just football team. But it's still normal, except now Tom Brady is on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You know it's not normal, but hey, normal's boring. So here we are on The Toss-Up, ready to discuss everything you need to know about this not boring, not normal NFL season. So hello, everybody, and welcome to The Toss-Up. This week, I'm joined by our two IUS-TV football experts. We have Haley Jordan and Jevin McCoskey. Welcome to the show. So glad to have you here.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for having us. It's great to be back after a long season that has not seemed to end.
Exactly.
Yeah, what does feel like forever, it is good to be back talking football.
Yeah, but of course, with the football season, obviously this pandemic is still ongoing, and it will continue to affect the football season. So with no fans in attendance, with no preseason, do you think it's going to affect the quality of play we might get early on? Haley, what do you think about it?
I don't think it's necessarily going to affect the quality of play, and I say that because you're eliminating distractions. I feel like sometimes those stadiums can be extremely loud. You know, maybe a certain somebody's going to be in that audience, but now they are just centered in on playing football. There's nobody out there to impress except on TV, you know, the millions that are watching on TV. But it's going to be a little bit quieter. I don't know if they're going to do a similar style to what NBA is doing and have the zoom-in faces, but I think as far as fans go, not having as many in the stadium, I don't think it's going to be a problem. They're still going to play as hard as they would if they were in the stadium.
Yeah, I think it'll take a little bit to get to the normal kind of play that we're used to seeing with no preseason. But as far as preseason, it really only affects the players that were trying to make a name for themselves. And you kind of have to feel bad for those players. But when it comes to COVID-19, the NFL's done a great job. As far as we know, holding all of the tests that have come back, all of the results have been less than 1% positive. From what we see, they're doing their job, the right job.
Yeah, and that's something the NFL is not currently playing in like a not lock down, tight-knit bubble as the NBA has done and as hockey has done, and it has burned a few MLB teams, but overall, they're optimistic that they're going to be able to continue this season. Another big storyline, though, over the summer that we have to talk about is the emphasis on social justice, on accountability. We've seen the NFL is now sort of on board with kneeling protests that they've done. We've also seen a lot of upheaval with the formerly Washington Redskins, now the Washington football team, both on the field with their logo and off the field with issues that went all the way to the top. So, a few years ago, Colin Kaepernick it's sort of speculated that he was, blacklisted out of the NFL. And the NFL took a strict, no kneeling stance. Yeah. What has changed in these past months and in these past years? And do you think that this emphasis on accountability is going to stick around?
I think the turning point was honestly on June 2nd, Blackout Tuesday. And that's when the whole world decided to come together and really say, we have a bigger issue here at hand. And that's when everything changed. And I think the NFL would be sadly mistaken to punish those or penalize those who decide to take that stance. Because if they feel that they want to support Black Lives Matter in the form of kneeling or sitting out from the national anthem, that is that is their First Amendment right. And so far, Roger Goodell has said that he is in support of people kneeling and that he owes Kaepernick an apology. After all these years later, people are saying Kaepernick is way ahead of his time. And now it's finally that time. The time has come.
Yeah. And do you think that it's going to stick around?
Yeah, well, in response to what Haley said, I think the turning point was they just found out they were wrong. And it's okay to be wrong. You just have to know what you did wrong and, live with the consequences that have come with that. And I think that the NFL is starting to realize that they were wrong and they're making changes to that. And do I think it's going to stick around? Yes. Not just in football. I think it's going to be around for a long time until we start to see change. I've seen a lot of things happen over the last couple months and last couple years, but the one thing that stuck out to me, the one word is change. And until change happens for the better, it's going to stick around.
Yeah, there's a ton surrounding this, and obviously we wish the best for everyone involved. But yeah, a lot of emphasis on this year, and we'll see how that plays out throughout the season. Now, I do want to shift a little more towards the actual season coming up. Here we are in week 1. Just right off the bat, Jevin, I'm going to start with you on this one. Who are some of these powerhouses, the teams that week in and week out you do not want to see them on your schedule?
Well, there's 3 teams that come to mind. I'm going to let you talk about the Chiefs. I'm going to give that one
Thank
to you.
you.
There you go.
That's all I asked.
The Seahawks do come to mind because it seems like they're always in the mix, but the one I'm going to talk about is the Baltimore Ravens. I really think, and this is going to sound crazy, I know it is, but I think they have a shot of going 16-0. And I say that with 100%, I believe it 100%.
Wow.
Because you look at last year, they were the second best offense in the league. They brought everybody back. They were the third best defense in the league, and they added Calais Campbell. I think that they just have a really good chance. No one wants to see them. They're even favored to beat your Chiefs.
Mm-hmm. Well, Lamar Jackson, he's great.
Yeah,
great player.
he's the most dynamic football player in the NFL. But yeah, definitely the Ravens. No one wants to see the Ravens.
Yeah, and Haley, I'll give you the chance to talk about your Chiefs.
Is it that obvious? Has it come to this? It's that obvious.
Yeah.
Yes, I wore Chiefs red today. They're playing the Texans tonight at 8, so I'm going to hurry on out of here after this.
We'll try and get you to a TV after that.
Exactly.
And, of course, that game will already be over by the time that this episode airs. So
right.
As long as nothing, I don't know. I'm kind of hoping it's a boring game.
Oh,
it won't be.
Stop it.
It won't.
I know.
Deshaun Watson, Patrick Mahomes combined $633 million between quarterbacks. How can it be boring?
Yeah. Okay, here we go. So Chiefs, they are the powerhouse to look at. I think everybody is completely terrified, especially I think Patrick Mahomes is starting to build this dynasty. He has that $450 million contract. Can you believe that? And I cannot believe that. Biggest contract in NFL history ever. And what's to say he doesn't get injured? Even I don't think the man can't be taken down. I believe that he can be taken down, but not this season. He's still got a lot of health left in him. He's still got a lot of, limber bones ready to play. And I think they're going to be unstoppable. He's got Travis Kelce, and he's got all of his weapons in place that he needs. Not a lot of their guys chose to opt out of the season either, so they are working with a full roster, a roster that's prepared, a roster that has experienced a Super Bowl win.
I will say something so impressive with that organization is the fact that they can pay Patrick Mahomes that much money, but still bring the weapons back like Travis Kelce. They still paid him a boatload of money. They backed up the Brinks truck for him too. I mean, everyone on that organization is getting paid.
Yeah, and not only that, but this is the Kansas City Chiefs. It's not, Kansas City's a large city, but it's not Los Angeles or New York, these major markets that generally have that sort of type of cash revenue. So, but hey, they won their Super Bowl. They're riding high off of that, and they've got opportunities for more and more way down the line. But Chiefs, Ravens, Seahawks we can throw in there as well. But there's a handful of other teams that are all still fighting for the mix. Haley, who do you think some of these underrated teams could be that we may not immediately think of as this is a Super Bowl contender, but someone who you got to be careful when that team shows up?
I've seen very mixed reviews about the Bucs. Very mixed. We have some people on one side that are saying, oh yeah, they have a chance to go to the Super Bowl, but then we have other people that are saying, don't hold your breath. Tom Brady is nothing without the Patriots. They're not going to be as good. So I wouldn't necessarily say they're like a sleeper team or anything. I think they're going to be good regardless. I'm just curious to see how far they go. But Tom Brady has his favorite weapon, Gronk. And it's going to be interesting to see if they are going to be the duo of the season or if Tom Brady's going to explore some of his other options. He's been with the Patriots for so long, this is new territory. It's even new weather for him. Tampa Bay. What's it going to be like? Like you said, it's not normal. It's not normal. I saw a picture of Tom Brady in a Bucs jersey, and I said, what is that? Who is that? I didn't recognize him at first. And whether or not he's going to translate well to a different team after all this time, he's in his 40s, I'm not sure. But I don't think they're a sleeper team, but I definitely think it's a team that people are going to be watching and they're going to be looking at.
Yeah, they're definitely worth the discussion. I completely agree. Jevin, who are some of your...
Now, another team that I don't know if anyone's really picking to win, but it might be just hometown, but I'm going to go with the Indianapolis Colts. Contrary to popular belief, I love Phillip Rivers. I do like the acquisition. Now, are there other quarterbacks that I wish we would have brought in other than him? Yes, but I don't think he's necessarily a bad pickup. Also bring in DeForest Buckner from the 49ers, one of the best defensive players in the league. Putting him on that defense with Malik Hooker, with Darius Leonard, Kenny Stills, like they're just going to be a great defensive team. And when you put anybody behind that offensive line, the best offensive line in the league, Jonathan Taylor out of Wisconsin. I know he's got a lot of miles on him, but put him behind that offensive line. I think he's going to have a great year. Him and Marlon Mack both, but really Jonathan Taylor.
And you know what else is they have a new kicker too. They signed Rodrigo Blankenship, and they're just getting new players all around. And Rodrigo, he's a 6'1" kicker. He's really good. Very fierce competition. At Wish TV at my internship, they were filming the competition, and it was very close. Very, very close is what Frank Reich said. They went with him, and one of our reporters asked him, they said, Rod, what were you doing the night before they announced it? And he said, well, I was playing Legos and talking to my girlfriend. And I thought, you know what? Sign him. Let's sign this guy. He sounds like he's going to be a very chill guy to send in those extra points, and I think he's going to be a weapon for the Colts as well. Can't forget about special teams, right?
Absolutely.
Oh, for sure. I love a good kickers battle. And that sort of sounded sarcastic. I don't mean that. Like, I love watching kickers. I just think it's always so entertaining to follow them.
Especially when they have a little character behind them like he does.
Exactly.
It's just fun to watch.
And that's such a hard position because you have to be, your emotions have to be locked down 100% of the time.
Yeah.
So
they're in their own world until they're not.
Exactly. I don't entirely know what that means.
Like, everyone just expects them to do their job, and if they don't do their job, then they're hated because, oh, you cost us the game.
Exactly.
But then when they make the winning field goal, then they go like, oh, yeah, that's special teams. They matter.
And I think a lot of people don't really realize what all goes into kicking. Like, there are a lot of little intricacies that have to go perfect for the ball to go through the uprights.
Oh, yeah. I got a chance to try kicking a point after attempt last season. Let's just say it did not go well. And we'll leave it at that. If anyone wants to go look up that video, you can do so on your own time because I don't really want to resurface that. While we're still on the topic of underrated teams, it's just my personal interest, but I really want to see what the Arizona Cardinals do this year.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Because you've got year 2 Kyler Murray.
Yep.
You still have Cliff Kingsbury sort of establishing that offense, establishing that team. And now Kyler Murray, who gets to take a step forward, already has Larry Fitzgerald and Christian Kirk and adds DeAndre Hopkins, one of the best receivers in the game. I just think that's going to be an electric.
The best.
The best, there you go.
The best receiver in the league.
Yeah, I think it's going to be an absolutely electric offense to follow.
How long can Larry Fitzgerald play before he finally hangs his cleats up?
I would like to see
at
him
a high level
50.
too.
I would like to see him go till 50.
Oh, seems like he
just
can play
so
forever.
He can hit that round.
Yeah.
Seems like he can play forever.
Age is like fine wine. We do not endorse drinking here on the talk. Okay, so now we were just talking about Fitzgerald, some of these older players, but moving back to some of the young guys, a handful of rookies come into this class. You already mentioned Jonathan Taylor, and his Big Ten counterpart, J.K. Dobbins, is with the Baltimore Ravens as well, able to make immediate impacts. But you've got Joe Burrow, starting job on the Bengals. You've got Clyde Edwards-Hilaire, starting job on the Chiefs. I'm sure there's plenty of other names that I'm not mentioning right now. Which rookies, Haley, do you think are going to be the ones that are going to step up the most from year 1 this season? These are going to be the guys to watch out for.
I think Tua is going to be a really good person to watch, and I was surprised that he wasn't higher up in the draft. I mean, I know he was high, but I expected him to be a lot higher. But he's going to be a really good asset for the Dolphins. And, of course, I'm going to go back and I'm going to say it every single time. I think Joe Burrow, although it's not going to be easy, It's not going to be easy for him to translate to the NFL, especially to the team at the bottom of the totem pole. Nobody wants to play for the Bengals right now. Nobody. I'm sorry. But you know what? I think Joe Burrow is the guy to take on that task. He is used to adversity. He's used to not playing at Ohio State and then transferring to LSU. And so I think he's the type of guy that's up for the challenge. We've seen what he can do on College game day, and I think he's really going to build that team up. I'm not saying that they're going to be incredibly good. I'm just saying that he's going to be the guy to watch out for, and he's going to be the guy that can make or break that team.
Yeah, he's got all the opportunity in the world. And
touch on Joe Burrow, players are bigger, faster, stronger. But when you put up the numbers that he did last year at LSU, it's hard to not have positive expectations coming into your rookie year. But like I said, bigger, faster, stronger, so it's not going to be easy.
Mm-hmm.
But as you said earlier, I did touch on Jonathan Taylor earlier in the show, and I'm going to stick to him. He is my rookie of the year. Jonathan Taylor, just when you put him behind I don't really care who it is. If you put any running back that is good, has like decent skills behind that offensive line, they're going to have a good year. So.
Yeah, that offensive line is. I could have a decent year. Okay, that's an exaggeration, but
no, you can rush for 100 at least one game.
At least one game. I'll do my best. I feel like the first hit that I take might be the end of my career, but
don't get hit.
CTE.
Problem solved. Won't get hit. All right. Well, on that note, I think it's a good point to take a break. But coming up after the break, we will start making some of our predictions, as Jevin just touched on, and we've got a little bit of a game coming up. So make sure you stick with us. Welcome back to the toss-up. Now, as we mentioned earlier, the Chiefs and Texans are getting ready to kick off on their own game right as we're filming this, but we've got our game to play right here. This one is boom or bust. So the rules are pretty simple. I'm going to give you a player. I want you to tell me what your expectation is for them, whether they're going to exceed all expectations that everyone's talking about, have a dominant year, or if there's someone to sort of shy away from. So, Haley, I'm going to start with you, and we have to start with the biggest name, the transfer teams this season. All the question marks are about Tom Brady, boom or bust.
Tom Brady, boom or bust. I prefer bop or flop, but we're going to say that Tom Brady is a big boom. I think Tampa Bay is going to be very excited to have him. They already are. They're calling it Tampa Bay. Is that trademarked yet? I believe so. But he is going to be the same as he always has been. I don't think that, I mean, it might be a little bit of a culture shock, moving south instead of staying up north a little bit, but I expect him to be on cue. I expect him to have that GOAT status that he's always carried around with him. And, Tom Brady, he's getting older, like I said previously, but that doesn't stop him. That doesn't stop him. I mean, the man's never even eaten a strawberry or anything with that much sugar, and that is factual. I'm not even being funny. That is pure facts right there. But he's going to deliver, and I think everybody is going to be surprised to see the great record that the Bucs have.
Jevin, I saw you shaking your head over there.
I don't know. I'm like you said earlier, like people are on both sides of the fence. I don't know. I don't know how well he's going to do outside of New England. I don't know if he'll succeed. I mean, the weapons around him are some of the best weapons he's had in his entire career. But I don't know. Is boom or bust? Can I pick or? I don't know. I don't.
Can I pick or?
So my original question was boom or bust, and Haley picked bop, and you pick or. So we're off to a great start already. I will say for my piece in this, I don't think he's going to particularly boom. I do think that he will be better than he was last year.
Yeah.
I think he'll definitely outperform his final year in New England. But my boom is on the Gronkosaurus, white tiger, whatever you want to call that man. I love that man. And this comes from no football expertise. He could be like the worst tight end in the league. I don't know.
It's kind of hard not to root for.
I am willing him to succeed. So my boom goes to, or my bop goes to Gronk. I'm bopping Gronkowski. But while we were talking Tom Brady leaving New England, the replacement that they bring in for him, Cam Newton. Cam had a pretty successful career with the Carolina Panthers. Obviously, injuries sort of derailed that. He's now back with Tampa Bay under Belichick's system. And Jevin, I want to start with you on this one. Do you think Cam is going to be successful, or Is he going to flop, drop, whatever the word we're using for that is? I mean, maybe Stidham could take the job.
No, it's boom in all capital letters. I'm not a betting man, but if I was, comeback player of the year, without question. I just think putting him in that system, on that offensive-minded system, and he's got the chip on his shoulder, and he's also one of those players it's kind of hard to root against. But boom, all capital letters, exclamation points, all of it.
Haley, are you that ecstatic about Cam Newton?
I agree. I'll put it in all caps and maybe one exclamation mark.
Okay, that's
Not
fair.
as aggressive tonight. Maybe I'm just tired. But yes, he is a very big boom for me. You know, he played with Tim Tebow in college and then came out on top to be the Heisman winner. You know, he's led the Panthers to a Super Bowl before and was the MVP. And so he's got a great resume. He definitely has a great resume. And for him to be translating into an organization that knows how to win, I think Cam Newton is going to love Belichick, and I think Belichick's going to love him. That's going to be quite the pair of the NFL, I believe. Big boom. Cam Newton. You heard it here first.
All right. Big boom for Cam Newton. Now, shifting away from the quarterbacks for a bit, we can come back to that a little later. I'm going to look at one of the big running backs who's been up and down a lot lately. Le'Veon Bell, former workhorse of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now with the Jets, I mean, he walked out of his final season with the Steelers and still got huge money. And now he's trying to bounce back from his first down year, I believe injury-ridden. So do you think Le'Veon Bell is going to be able to get back to his peak form? Or is he a bust, flop, drop, stop, and roll?
Or.
Yeah, we can throw or in there.
I think he's a flop. I think he's a flop. He did not do anything for the Jets last year, and I know people are still rooting for him and that he's a good player and just didn't have all of the materials and all of the weapons and the players that he needed, but I don't think he's anything big to discuss right now, and that could change. You know, you never know. But for me, he's gonna be my first flop of the night.
Yeah, I agree. It might just be because he's on the Jets. Maybe if he was on a more talented roster, maybe his talents come out a little bit more. But yeah, and I like him. I wish that I could say boom, but you know, I think I have to go with flop.
Yeah. Well, speaking of things that you like, I know this question is very personal to you.
Yeah.
We're going to be talking about some of the Colts here.
Yeah.
Phillip Rivers, brand new quarterback.
Yeah.
He's taking the role of Jacoby Brissett.
I can't see, but I'm smiling from ear to ear.
Right. Well, I sort of got that just from like the onslaught of yeah. It's like a hungry yeah. You're looking forward to it. So just take it away. Talk about the Colts offense.
So the whole show I've been high praise Jonathan Taylor, high praise offensive line. But our first round draft pick, Michael Pittman Jr., I love him. Absolutely love him. T.Y. Hilton coming back, he just had an interview. I don't know if it was early this morning or if it was last night. He said healthy 13 is a different 13. He said he's the healthiest he's been and he's ready to get back to football. And he was wearing a Phillip Rivers T-shirt. So that's a good sign. And when you look, also another player that was injured last year is Paris Campbell out of Ohio State. He's another deep threat, which, you know, Phillip Rivers might not have the best arm in the league, but Paris Campbell's a guy, you get the ball to him, take it to the house. I haven't been this excited about the Indianapolis Colts offense in a very long time, and I think I just have all the reasons in the world to be excited.
I love to hear that. Just being able to like see the
It's
joy on it.
Yeah, it's almost kind of hard to get it all out because I'm so excited.
That's
like Sunday 4:00 can't come soon enough. Jacksonville is in trouble. That's all I have to say.
Okay. Haley, do you agree Jacksonville's in trouble?
Jacksonville's in trouble. Yeah, Jevin, I agree with you. I absolutely agree with you. And according to just some interviews and some sources, they've been saying that Rivers and T.Y. are working great together, which explains the T-shirt.
Yeah,
that explains the relationship. And, you know, if they're developing a relationship on the field, great. That's wonderful. That's going to rack up the wins. But if they're developing a relationship off the field, too, even better. You got to have that chemistry in both places. And I personally am very excited as an Indianapolis native, and I cannot wait to see where this season goes. Jevin, couldn't agree with you more.
One more thing. I was listening to a Phillip Rivers interview, and he was mentioning his time with T.Y., and he said that, you know, if you watch them on the practice field, you would think that they've been together for 4 years, not 4 weeks. And that is just music to my ears. Like I said, can't wait for this season.
Yeah. See, I never had that same sort of hype around Phillip Rivers just as a quarterback in general.
Yeah.
But I agree that I'm really looking forward to that combo with T.Y. Hilton because we've already seen what T.Y. can do when he was healthy, when Luck was healthy. Yeah. Just the success he's been able to have. And then we saw what Phillip Rivers was able to do with Keenan Allen.
Yeah.
So if you're able to add that sort of rapport and they're already at that level, I'm going to agree with all of you that this Colts offense has a very high ceiling.
And it's also just going to be good to see Phillip Rivers do something positive for the Colts instead of against the Colts. I mean, he's been killing us since like 2006, and it's not fun to watch. So it's time to do something positive for us.
Yeah, and also the two guys are big family, man. Like Phillip Rivers has what, like 1,000 children, and then Ty has a bunch too. And I think
7 girls.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And 2 boys.
Exactly.
That's a lot of kids.
Yes.
That's amazing.
If you have 7 girls, you might as well have 1,000 children. But absolutely, Phillip Rivers, T.Y. Hilton, they are the talk of the town. And Jevin, I am not as excited as you because I know they're your team, they're your specific team. But as an Indy native, yes, eager to watch.
Okay. And so now, this might sort of tie into the same conversation we're having, but we're going to move into the quick fire.
Yes.
So we've got a few questions for you. Just one name, one word answers, whatever it is. You can have a little bit of time to explain. But Haley, I'm going to start with you, and I'm going to ask about your rookie of the year.
Tua.
You say it's Tua. It's that easy for you?
Yes, Tua. Next.
Wow. See, there was another quarterback drafted above him.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Next.
Okay, then. Jevin, are you still leaning towards Taylor?
Well, yeah, I mean, if
Colts,
anyone's been watching this show so far, I think they know what my answer is, and
I had a feeling.
Yeah, Jonathan Taylor.
Yep.
I'm surprised that there are no Joe Burrow picks out there.
He plays for Cincinnati.
Exactly.
In that division, it's going to be tough for him.
MVP of the team.
Yeah.
But as far as overall, I just don't know if the Bengals are going to be good enough for him to be selected as the MVP. Not that I'm doubting Joe Burrow's abilities because he is a monster. But, Tua has more assets to work with. He's got a better fighting chance at winning. And nothing against the Bengals. Nothing against the Bengals at all. This is all love on this show. It's all love.
Okay. I can appreciate that. And for my piece, again, I do want to throw out Clyde Edwards-Hilaire because that guy was absolutely insane in college and is now going into arguably the best offense in football as a starter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got defenses that know they have to prepare for the $400 million gazillion man Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
He's going to have all sorts of lanes to work with. I'm really looking forward to see what Clyde Edwards-Hilaire is able to do. Speaking of Mahomes, I'm going to guesstimate here as I did with Jonathan Taylor. The next question's about the MVP pick.
Mm-hmm.
Haley, who is your MVP?
Well, we all know my MVP is Patrick Mahomes every day of the year.
Okay, but on the football field.
On the football field, because we are on a sports show. I would say that he has a good run for it again. I've also thought about your QB, Lamar Jackson could win it again.
I am a big Lamar Jackson fan.
I would not be opposed to that. I would not be opposed to him getting that back-to-back because he's just shown up and he's been a great player. But yeah, Patrick Mahomes, it just depends how they do. But yeah, he has a great shot at winning it for the second time.
Yeah, but those are sort of the top two, you feel like?
Top two.
Basically between Mahomes and Jackson. And I know I sort of have you get to argue on behalf of Mahomes, and my role here is to argue for Jackson. I'm going to be completely honest. Looking at it this upcoming season, I do think that Patrick Mahomes has the better shot at it.
It's tough to bet against him.
Complete honesty.
It's tough to bet against
and I love watching Lamar Jackson. I'll tune into the Raven games to watch those, but I do think Mahomes has a better shot, at least this season, just based on what I've seen out of them so far. And Jevin, now I want to move on to you because I want to hear your pick. And if I remember right,
Jonathan. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, Jonathan Taylor.
No. Russell Wilson. He throughout the first 7 or 8 weeks last season, maybe even a little bit longer than that, he was in the running. And then Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson both. Obviously, Lamar Jackson ended up winning it. They both just went to another level. And I'm excited to see if Russell Wilson can take this Seahawks team with a pretty potent offense. With DK Metcalf, I'm expecting to have another big year too. But taking that defense to seeing if he can take that team all together to a next level, I think if he does that, it's going to put him in that stratosphere of MVP again. So I'm just excited to see if he could do that. But he's my pick. Russell Wilson's my pick.
Okay, but in a perfect world, you would want Jonathan Taylor, apparently.
I mean, that'd be good for the Colts.
That's right. He'll give Gronk a run for his money for MVP this year. There you go. You heard it here first. Jonathan Taylor and Rob Gronkowski for MVPs. But no, in all seriousness, we're gonna wrap it up with the big one, preseason week 1. Who is your Super Bowl matchup? Jevin, I'm gonna start with you.
My Super Bowl matchup is the Kansas City Chiefs and the Dallas Cowboys. And if I had to pick a winner, I'm obviously going to pick the Chiefs. And if I had to pick a score, I'm going to go to score. I say 27-17 Chiefs.
Okay.
Yep. Right here. You heard it here first. So
yeah.
So when the Super Bowl rolls around, you can come back and look. I was sitting right here when I
Take
said
notes,
it.
Exactly. But
everybody.
he's not a betting man, so you get
Oh, no.
absolutely nothing for this if
Yeah,
you're
I
right.
promise, not a betting man.
Right. You just get the satisfaction of knowing you called it.
Yep.
All right, Haley, what is your Super Bowl picks?
Chiefs and Cowboys. I literally, when you said that, I was like, come on. Yeah, but I mean, I guess that further emphasizes that it seems like a probable matchup if two people are thinking about it, and we didn't even discuss it beforehand. If not the Chiefs, then Colts.
Hey.
There you go.
Did you see that? Could you see it?
Don't get me excited.
Don't even start with me, Haley, he said.
Because if it's not the Chiefs, it's probably going to be the Ravens.
I would think it would be the Ravens. My picks, I do think the Ravens are actually going to make the Super Bowl. I think the Ravens are going to win the Super Bowl.
Fair.
I have Patrick Mahomes as my
You
MVP,
can't
but I
argue
do
that either.
think the Ravens are going to win the Super Bowl this year. I mean, Jevin almost predicted that they're going to go 16-0 this year, so I'd say.
No, I did predict it.
Oh, you did predict
Yeah,
it.
uh-huh. Mhm. It's gonna-
So the Ravens are going 16-0, but the Chiefs are going to win the Super Bowl.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Again, we've heard it here first, and you get nothing if this happens, except I will be.
I'll get a pat on the back for sure.
Yes, I will be.
Not even. It's
awestruck.
Rona season.
Right. You're right. Smart one over here.
There we go. But yeah, I think a sleeper team and the other side of these things I've tried following the Cowboys for a while and trying to like get in on that hype, and I just have not seen them put it together. And I know Jason Garrett's gone, which I think is a large part of why that they have struggled for so long. But until they can prove that they know how to win at the highest level, I'm not going to bet on them. The team that I think stands a good shot at making the Super Bowl, I guess for similar reasons, but they've always been in that mix, is the Saints.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
Okay.
I'm a Drew Brees fan, even though he
They've
took
won
a
it
Super
before.
Bowl from us. But
Yeah, they've won it before. I think they know how to win it again. And these past several years, they just keep falling up short, whether it's a pass interference no call or a last-second Hail Mary that Stephon Diggs like ducks under the cornerback. I don't know how that happened. I think that this could be their year to at least give it a run for their money before they fall to the undefeated Ravens.
see, the only thing with the Saints that I question is the fact that Drew Brees week 1 to about 14 is amazing, phenomenal. But he's a little older. That arm, it doesn't seem to last past week 14. So, and that's been something that's kind of been talked about the last 2 seasons. So I'll be excited to see what happens with him.
Yeah, it should be a fun season. We're all looking forward to it. And that will be it for us on the show. You heard our predictions. You heard our analysis. That does it for us this week. But be sure to continue the discussion on our Twitter page at IUSTV Sports and on Facebook at IUSTV Sports. You can always give any suggestions for the show and ask any questions that you might have. So toss it up, find out if we'll catch it. We'll see you next time.